Hello everybody, gardening is life, and today I'll be giving you 3 tips on picking the perfect location for your backyard garden. Let's start. Tip number 1, you want to pick a location that receives a lot of sunlight. This is my backyard. That's one side, then that's the other one. These are my little fruit trees. I got a little bit more space on the side, which I'll be fencing in later on this year so I can expand the yard. But my ideal location will be behind the garage, because I will end up putting a fence from the red barrel all the way to the fence and completely fence off the little area that I'll be using for my garden. Why? Because my little dog number 1 and my little dog number 2, I want them to have plenty of space to run around and play. So that will be the ideal spot for my garden. It does receive a lot of sunlight. The garage does block about, I think, 25% early in the morning with shade, but that's until about 10 o'clock. And after that, it's perfectly sunny. Tip number 2, you want to make sure that you're planting in an area that has good quality dirt. I have planted in this area before, and I have received good results. Last year I didn't plant at all, so I just let the grass grow. I did have a fire here, but I know this area produces, so I'll be using it again this year. But I don't know if you can see it in the video. There is a slight slope, which on this end is a lot lower than up there. So I will need to add some dirt right here later on. So that's the tip number 2. Make sure you have good quality dirt, even level area to prevent water from building up. And tip number 3, make sure you're close to a water source. I know a lot of areas get a lot of sunlight and it dries out the ground, so being close to a water source is very, very beneficial. Me personally, I'll be building a water source right here where I will have a huge container where I'll be collecting rainwater. But for the time being, my house is right there, so I will be using a watering hose, and that's what I did 2 years ago. Pretty much I just connect the water hose, stand right here, and just sprinkle it everywhere, and it works perfectly. But it does waste a lot of house water, and your water bill will be a little bit higher. So that's why I'm building a little container that will be right here where I will be collecting rainwater to water my garden. One other tip that I would like to add is pre-digging your garden. I personally like to flip over the dirt before I get the tiller out, just so it can dry out for a day or two, get some oxygen built up, and it makes it a lot easier to break down. I personally just use a regular shovel and a pair of gloves, of course. Makes the work a lot easier, and you don't end up with blisters on your hands. Plus, later on, it makes the ground a lot easier to work with. There she goes, fertilizing the ground. So this is how I flip over the dirt. Very simple process. All you do, push in and flip over. The goal of this one is to pretty much flip the dirt over and pretty much rebury the grass. That way the dirt on the bottom will end up on top, and it will dry out and get some fresh oxygen. And then later on, probably within a week or so, we will come back and pick all the grass out, and we will till it. That way it's a lot easier to work the dirt. And it will make it a lot easier to plant in the long run because the dirt will be very soft and broken down, and you won't have these massive chunks. So I still got a long way to go. When I'm done, I'll make the video again. As you can see, I have flipped most of the topsoil for the garden. It took me about an hour and a half to do this. We got the blackberry bush right there, which I'll need to trim and get ready. As you can see, it's pretty simple. All I did was flip the dirt. I put up my little fence just to see how much more I will need. Pretty much another section. They're just standing. I haven't actually put them in yet. Left me a little trail right here. And there go my green apple. It's almost blossoming. Let's see. I also left a big circle around the tree. I didn't want to get too close and disturb the roots. Here's another trail. And this right here is a stinging nettle. That's right here, that was the growth from last year. I'll have to pretty much take the lawnmower and cut all this out. There's a new one growing. I will pretty much build a little brick section around here to prevent it from spreading. Alright guys, that's the first step for this year's garden. There go some blossoming fruit trees, which we're gonna cover in later videos. Alright, there you go guys. First step. And make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel because we got a lot more videos and a lot more projects that we're going to be doing this year. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.